Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Welcome back to our RLA review series practice quiz, and this is now part 6 of our professional practice quiz. So instructions before proceeding with the quiz, it is best to get a piece of paper muna, cut lengthwise, and then write down numbers 1 to 30 so that when you are ready, you can now start with the quiz, and for every question, write down the corresponding letter of your best choice or answer from the multiple choice. And you will be given 10 seconds to finalize your answer. At the end of the quiz, count the total number of your correct answers and check your score rating. So if you are now ready, good luck. Number 1. Section 41 of RA 9266 is A. Implementing rules and regulations, B. Malpractice, C. Foreign architect, and D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter A, the implementing rules and regulations. So within 60 days after the effectivity of RA 9266, the board, subject to the approval of the Commission and in coordination with the Integrated and Accredited Professional Organization, or the UAP, shall adopt and promulgate such rules and regulations, the Code of Ethical Conduct, and the Standards of Professional Practice to carry out the provisions of RA number 9266, and which shall be effective within 15 days following their publication in the Official Gazette or in 2 major daily newspapers of general circulation. So that is section 41. Number 2. The architect determines the adequate size and appropriate configuration and assemblage for a proposed project in consideration of the use, allocation, and interface of spaces for given activities. A. Architectural programming, B. Space planning, C. Space management, and D. Space allocation. And our correct answer is letter B, space planning. So under SPP document 201, pre-design services, space planning is when the architect determines the adequate size and appropriate configuration and assemblage for a proposed project in consideration of the use, allocation, and interface of spaces for given activities. Space planning is done mainly through primary data gathering, such as interviews, consultations, interfaces, focus group discussions or FGDs, space planning surveys, space audits, etc., and subsequent analysis, that is spatial layouts with stacking concepts, particularly for multi-story structures. Number 3. Drawing usually done in early stages of design. A. Preliminary sketches, B. Conceptual design, C. Design development, and D. Bidding. And our correct answer is letter A, preliminary sketches. So preliminary sketches are the drawings done in the early stage of design to explore and communicate initial ideas, forms, and spatial relationships. They are quick, loose, and conceptual, serving as a tool for the architect to study possible design solutions before moving on to more detailed stages like conceptual design and design development. So number 4, as an architect, what must be done in early stages of engagement with the client? A. Explain well the scope of work of an architect. B. Prepare the contract. C. Ask for down payment. And D. Ask for project information. And our correct answer is letter D, ask for project information. So, under SPP Document 202, the regular design services, under the project definition phase, this is the first phase of the 6 phases of the work of an architect. So, this particular phase involves the definition of the requirements of the project by the owner. So, mauuna muna yung pagbibigay ng mga information. No? Kaya hihingin mo muna sa owner yung information about the project. And then, afterwards, the architect in turn informs the owner of the technical requirements of the project and the concomitant professional fee. So, bali pinaka-second na gagawin pag nakuha na yung information is to explain well the scope of work of an architect. No? So, pinakauna pa rin yung paghihingi ng information about the project. So, in this phase, the architect consults with the owner to ascertain the conceptual framework and related requirements of the project and confirm such requirements with him, and also gathers relevant information and data leading to the definition of the requirements of the project, including the scope of the architect services, and lastly, reviews and refines the owner's space requirements and translate them into an architectural program. Number 5. Who can file the violation of Code of Ethical Conduct? A. Anyone. B. Another architect who is aware on violation. C. PRC. And D. IAPOA. And our correct answer is letter A. Anyone. So, any person, whether the architect, the client, or a member of the public who believes that a registered and licensed architect has violated the Code of Ethical Conduct may file a written complaint. The UAP, as the Integrated and Accredited Professional Organization of Architects, or the IAPOA, shall receive, review, and investigate the complaint. The IAPOA's Committee on Ethics conducts an investigation and recommends actions. If the violation is serious or merits disciplinary action beyond the IAPOA's jurisdiction, the case is endorsed to the PRC, PRBoA for formal administrative proceedings and possible sanctions. So any person, according to RA 9266, any person may bring before the Commission, Board, or the aforementioned officers of the law cases of illegal practice or violations of RA 9266 and this IRR of the Architecture Act of 2004 committed by any person or party. So kasama dito sa IRR ay ang Code of Ethical Conduct. But according to Section 40 of RA 9266, Integration of the Architecture Profession, part of the responsibility of the IAPOA is monitoring compliance and endorsing to or filing a complaint with the board and or commission for violation of the RA number 9266, this IRR, Code of Ethics, Standards of Professional Practice, and other policies of the board and of the commission and with other agencies for violation of other relevant laws, regulations, and the like. So which means that it would be best that any complaint shall be coursed through the IAPOA first before endorsing it to the PRC, PRBoA. Number 6. It is a scale or full-size model of a design or device used for teaching, demonstration, design evaluation, promotion, and other purposes. A. Approval sample. B. Prototype. C. Mock-up. And D. Specimen. And our correct answer is letter C, mock-up. So a mock-up is a scale or full-size model of a design or device used for teaching, demonstration, design evaluation, promotion, or testing. It represents how the final project will look and function, allowing designers, clients, or users to visualize and assess the design before actual production or construction. Number 7. For the client, what would not be the basis for the architect's professional fee? A. Talent and skills. B. design knowledge, C. personal relation, and D. contract documents. And our correct answer is letter C, personal relation. So the basis for the architect's fee according to SPP documents as well as the architect's guidelines is that the architect's compensation is based on the architect's architectural firm's talents, skill, experience, imagination, and on the type and level of professional services provided. So there are many methods that can be used either for pre-design and for regular design services. So personal relations has not been mentioned as a basis here. Number 8. Foreign architect can practice in Philippines provided that he must have a blank, A. local counterpart, B. visa, C. project, and D. license from his country. And our correct answer is a local counterpart. So according to RA 9266, a Filipino counterpart is the local Philippine architect, partnership, or corporation that must work in association with a foreign architect, partnership, or corporation on a project on Philippine soil. And also another requirement is that the foreign architect, which could be granted a temporary or temporary special permit to practice in the Philippines for a particular project, is that he or she is legally qualified to practice architecture in his or her own country, and that his or her experience is necessary and advantageous to our country, particularly in the aspects of technology transfer and specialization. So, ibig sabihin, dito sa mga choices, yung license from his country, of course, that is necessary, no? Bago mabigyan ng special permit yung foreign architect na yan. And this TSP or temporary special permit is for every project that the foreign architect will have on Philippine soil. And if he comes to the Philippines, of course, he must have a visa. Number 9. Building appraisal function. A. Estimates the value on the building. B. Decide if building is sound. C. Ascertain if building is properly designed. And D. Estimates the construction of building. And our correct answer is letter A, estimates the value on the building. So under SPP document 203 on the specialized architectural services, building appraisal means the appraisal is defined as an act or process of estimating value. The consulting architect in this area of practice places value on the building, structure, condition, and defects, and on its repair and maintenance, including the required improvements. Number 10. Which of the following is not signed and sealed by the architect? A. Architectural plan. B. Specifications. C. Cost estimate. And D. Roof framing plan. And our correct answer is letter D, roof framing plan. So a roof framing plan shows the structural components like trusses, beams, rafters, and purlins that support the roof. This falls under the scope of the structural engineer, not the architect. So a cost estimate or bill of materials is considered a supporting document prepared by the architect or cost estimator for reference only and does not bear the architect's professional seal. So yung specifications and architectural plans must be signed and sealed, but the cost estimate can only be signed. No need for a seal, no, for the cost estimate. However, roof framing plan is definitely not under the scope of the architect. Number 11, compensation for post-construction services. A, percentage of gross rental. B, per dime. C, per hour. And D, per week. And our best answer is letter A, the percentage of gross rental. So according to the architect's guidelines for post-construction services, the building administrator and or property manager can be compensated using the following methods. Number 1 is value pricing, or the percentage of gross rentals, maintenance, and security fees. Also, monthly salary fee can be used, or the MDPE, or the retainer plus reimbursable expenses, or the PF plus expenses. So number 12, a rule of thumb used for estimate of materials on residential project. A, 65% of project construction cost. B, 70% of project construction cost. C, 55% of project construction cost. And D, 80% of project construction cost. And our correct answer is letter B, 70% of project construction cost. So a common rule of thumb in estimating materials for a residential project is that materials account for around 70% of the total construction cost, while labor accounts for about 30%. So range for cost distribution is as follows. Materials is 60% to 70% of total construction cost, and labor is 30 to 40% of total construction cost. Number 13. As an architect, how do you compensate your subordinates? A, provide good workplace or environment. B, provide salary commensurate to work. And C, provide minimum wage. And D, per hour with free lunch. And our correct answer is letter B, provide salary that is commensurate to work. So as an architect and employer, compensating subordinates fairly means providing a salary that is commensurate to the nature, quantity, and quality of their work, consistent with the Code of Ethical Conduct for Architects. While providing a good workplace and benefits like free lunch are positive practices, the ethical and professional obligation is to secure fair and just compensation that reflects the value of the employer's contribution and complies with labor laws. Number 14, a well-managed office is like a car that A, is running smoothly, B, has plenty of gas and oil, C, running in good speed, and D, is in good condition. And our correct answer is letter A, is running smoothly. So a well-managed office is often compared to a car that is running smoothly, meaning all parts, staff, systems, and processes are functioning efficiently and harmoniously. Just as a car that runs smoothly indicates proper maintenance and coordination of all its components, a well-managed architectural office reflects good leadership, organization, and workflow management. A well-managed office is not just one that looks organized, that means good condition, yung letter D, no? It's one that functions effectively day to day, where people work efficiently and processes flow without friction. So between letter A and letter D, letter A is the best answer. Number 15. As a veteran architect with your own architectural practice, why do you need a secretary? A, to prepare contract documents and keep track of various ongoing projects. B, to secure client meetings. C, to keep office record in order. And D, to prepare documents. And our correct answer is letter A, to prepare contract documents and keep track of various ongoing projects. So a secretary in an architectural practice serves as the administrative backbone of the office, assisting the architect by preparing and organizing contract documents, correspondence, and reports, coordinating schedules and keeping track of multiple ongoing projects, and maintaining records and ensuring smooth office communication. So while the other options describe partial duties of a secretary, option A captures the broader and more essential administrative support role that helps the architect focus on design and management functions. Number 16. Any person, entity, public or private, Filipino or foreigner, who shall force an architect to perform any service under the general practice of architecture without executing a written contract or agreement is guilty of misdemeanor and is sentenced to a fine of not less than blank. A. 100,000, B. 200,000, C. 1 million, and D. 2 million pesos. And our correct answer is letter B, 200,000 pesos. So under Section 30 of RA 9266, Prohibition in the Practice of Architecture, any person or entity, whether public or private, Filipino or foreigner, who or which shall entice, compel, coerce, require, or otherwise force an architect registered and licensed under RA number 9266 to undertake or perform any service under the general practice of architecture as defined under RA number 9266 without first executing a written contract or service agreement shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall, upon conviction, be sentenced to a fine of not less than 200,000 pesos, so that's the minimum, or to suffer imprisonment for a period not exceeding 6 years, or both 200,000 pesos or 6 years imprisonment at the discretion of the court. Number 17. You recently passed the board and obtained your license as an architect. Which of the following would be unethical for you to do? A. Steal fellow architects' intellectual properties. B. Take a project from fellow architect who was already commissioned to do the work. And C. Punch the boastful architect. D. All of the above. And our correct answer is letter D, all of the above. So for letter A, the Code of Ethics says that the architect shall neither appropriate the intellectual property of nor unduly take advantage of the ideas of another architect without express authority from the originating architect. And then for letter B, the Code of Ethics says that the architect shall not, under any circumstances or through any means, solicit any project already known to him, her, as previously committed to another architect, whether such a commitment is still in the process of negotiation or has already been definitely agreed upon. So kahit na wala pang napipirmahang kontrata, hindi ka pa pwedeng pumasok sa eksena, no? Kasi basta alam mo na meron ng kausap yung kliyente na isang arkitekto. And then, for letter C, physically assaulting a fellow architect, like punching, is conduct unbecoming of a professional, violating the principle of professional dignity and moral conduct. So number 18. Juan passed the architecture licensure examination with flying colors and went back to his old job in Singapore. His boss was so impressed that he wanted to set up an architectural firm in the Philippines. What should Juan's boss do to practice architecture in the Philippines? A. He should collaborate with a Filipino firm or architect and be partners to be able to practice architecture in the Philippines. B. He should register his firm and begin practicing architecture in the Philippines. C. He is not allowed to put up an architectural firm in the Philippines. And D. He could practice architecture in the Philippines anytime he wants. And our correct answer is letter C. He is not allowed to put up an architectural firm in the Philippines because he is not a Filipino citizen. As per RA 9266, Section 37, only Filipino citizens properly registered and licensed as architects under this act may, among themselves or together with allied technical professionals, form and obtain registration as a firm, company, partnership, association, or corporation for the practice of architecture. So, bawal ang foreigner na magtayo ng isang architectural firm. Ang letter A naman, makikipag-collaborate with a Filipino firm or architect and be partners is not possible also because yung collaboration, pwede yan pero hindi magtatayo ng company, no? Collaboration is by virtue of the reciprocity agreement, and wherein the foreign architect will apply for a temporary special permit, no, and collaborate with a local counterpart, but not as partners, no. So the foreign architect must secure a temporary special permit from the PRC and the PRBoA. He must work in collaboration with a duly licensed Filipino architect who acts as the local counterpart and is directly responsible for the project in the Philippines. The arrangement is not a partnership under Philippine law. It is a collaboration or joint professional engagement where the Filipino architect remains the architect of record. So number 19, same situation. If Juan's boss could put up an architectural firm in the Philippines, what should be his first move to register his business? So yung question dito is already hypothetical. Sabi if, no? If Juan's boss could put up an architectural firm, no? So letter A, register his company at DTI. B, register his company at SEC. C, get a license to practice architecture in the Philippines as a foreign partner at PRC. And D, get a license to practice architecture in the Philippines as a foreign partner at UAP. And our correct answer is letter B, register his company at SEC. So if, hypothetically, Juan's boss is allowed to put up a firm, so kahit na sinabi doon sa una na bawal ang foreigner, no? Pero hypothetical na kung po pwede, no? Put up ng firm. His first move in the business registration process would be to register the company with the SEC, since Juan and his boss can be partners. The Securities and Exchange Commission handles the registration of partnerships and corporations, which include architectural firms. Item C, becoming or being called a foreign partner does not automatically or legally qualify a foreign national to practice architecture in the Philippines. Being a foreign partner does not grant a PRC license to practice, because licensure from PRC would grant the right to practice a profession. So it is only PRC, no, who can grant the right to practice a profession by virtue of passing a board exam as a requirement for registration. And number 20, same situation. If Juan and his boss were to be partners in a firm in the Philippines, where should the company be registered? A, DTI only. B, SEC only. C, SEC and PRC. And D, DTI and SEC. And our correct answer here is letter C, SEC and PRC. So if Juan, a Filipino licensed architect, and his boss, that is if hypothetically allowed, were to form a partnership or corporation for the practice of architecture in the Philippines, the registration process involves two main agencies. One is the SEC or Securities Exchange Commission for the legal registration of the business entity, that is partnership or corporation. And also, second is the Professional Regulation Commission, PRC, for the accreditation registration of the firm as an architectural firm as required under RA 9266 Section 37 NHIRR. Number 21. If you purchased 1 million peso inclusive of VAT worth of furniture and equipment for your office that you just set up, how much did you pay for the VAT? A. 300,000. B. 107,142.86. C. 120,000 pesos. And D. 107,857.14 pesos. So, our correct answer is letter B, 107,142.86 pesos. So, ibig sabihin nito, yung 1 million, kasama na dyan yung VAT at saka yung original na price ng furniture and equipment. No? So, para makuha natin yung presyo ng VAT, ang gagawin natin, cost without the 12% VAT. No? I-divide natin yung 1 million by 1.12. Bakit 1.12? Kasi yung 1 million consists of 100%, yun yung amount ng furniture, yung cost ng furniture and equipment, 100% plus the 12% na VAT for a total of 112%. So, ibig sabihin yan, ang 1 million is 112%. So, divide mo lang sa 1.12 para makuha natin yung presyo ng furniture and equipment. No? Hindi kasali yung 12% VAT. So, lalabas ng presyo noon is 892,857.14 yung exclusive of the 12% VAT. So, i-deduct natin yan from the 1 million. Lalabas na ang VAT is 107,142.86. So, kapag inad natin yan, ito yung magiging cost ng furniture and equipment, plus this is the 12% VAT, 12% of 892,587.14 will give you this one, no? So, pag tinotal yung dalawang yan, it will give you 1 million pesos. So, this is the 12% VAT, 12% of this one, plus this is the price of furniture and equipment. So, number 22. A client wants you to be his architect, but you found out that there is another architect involved. What would you do? A. Get it. That's an opportunity. B. Ask the client how much is the design fee of the other architect and lower your design fee. C. Refuse. And D. Call the other architect and ask courtesy. And our correct answer is letter C, refuse. So if you already know that another architect is formally or actively engaged or still in negotiation with that client, you are ethically bound to refuse the project. Calling the other architect, yung letter D, may be seen as courteous, but it is not required and may even be interpreted as an indirect solicitation of if the first architect is still under engagement. So, according to the Code of Ethics, the architect shall not, under any circumstances or through any means, solicit any project already known to him/her as previously committed to another architect, whether such a commitment is still in the process of negotiation or has already been definitely agreed upon. Number 23, as per Supplemental IRR of RA 9266, the Standards of Professional Practice, What is the basis of the preparation of contract documents wherein the architect prepares the detailed designs, construction drawings, and technical specifications in 7 sets? A. Approve schematic and conceptual plans. B. Architectural program. C. Approve design development documents. And D. Contract documents. And our correct answer is letter C. Approve design development documents. So under the SPP document 202, under the contract document phase, this should be based on the approved design development documents. So under this particular phase, it is now the architect preparing the complete contract documents consisting of detailed designs and construction drawings, setting forth in detail the work required for the architectural, structural, electrical, plumbing, sanitary, mechanical, electronic, and communication works prepared by the architect and the respective professionals involved. So these contract documents must be submitted to the owner in 7 sets. 24. An architect assigned apprentices A and B to work on a 3-story residence. Apprentice A as the site supervisor and Apprentice B in charge of producing the working drawings for a design-build project. The architect, busy with other projects, entrusted the work entirely to them. As the project progressed, everything went well until the architect discovered that part of the house was not built according to plan due to certain discrepancies in drawings. Whose fault is it? A. Apprentice A for not informing that there were discrepancies in the drawings. B. Apprentice B for producing drawings with discrepancies. C. The architect for not giving time to check the works of his apprentice. And D. The client for not inspecting the project. And our correct answer is letter C, the architect, for not giving time to check the works of his apprentice. So under RA 9266, the Architecture Act of 2004, and the Code of Ethical Conduct, the architect of record bears full professional responsibility for the acts and works performed under his/her supervision, including those done by apprentices, draftsmen, or assistants. Even if apprentices A and B committed errors, it remains the architect's duty to supervise and review their work regularly, ensure accuracy of drawings and site execution, and maintain accountability for the project as the licensed professional in charge. Therefore, the fault ultimately lies with the architect for failing to exercise adequate supervision and control. So same situation, number 25. What should the architect have done at the initial stage of this scenario? A. The architect should have reviewed the work of his apprentices before implementing any action on site. B. The architect should have assigned more apprentices to oversee the project. C. The architect should have left his other projects to focus on this one. And D. The apprentices should have informed the architect earlier that they could not handle the scope of work assigned to them. And our correct answer is letter A. The architect should have reviewed the work of his apprentices before implementing any action on site. So the responsibility ultimately lies with the architect, who must ensure that all drawings and instructions are checked and coordinated before execution, Apprentices work under the architect's supervision, so any discrepancies in their work should have been detected through proper review and quality control. This aligns with professional practice and ethical standards. The architect remains accountable for the acts of subordinates performed under his supervision. And number 26, same situation. To whom are apprentices A and B civilly liable? A. To the architect. B. To the client. C. To the contractor. And D. None of the above, or none. And our correct answer is letter D, none. So the apprentices cannot be held civilly liable in this case because they are not licensed professionals. Therefore, they cannot sign, seal, or take legal responsibility for architectural work. All professional and civil liability rests with the architect of record, who is responsible for the acts of those under his supervision. So while apprentices may be at fault internally, subject to disciplinary action by the architect, civil liability in the eyes of the law falls only on the licensed professional. 27. Same situation. In this project, who is responsible for obtaining a certificate of occupancy upon completion of the project? A. Architect. B. Engineer. C. Contractor. And D. Owner. And our correct answer is letter A, architect, because this is a design-build project. According to Section 309 of the NBCP, for the certificate of occupancy, the owner permittee shall submit to the OBO an application of certificate of occupancy. So, dito sa NBCP, ang mag-a-apply is the owner, okay, the applicant. According to UAP Document 301, General Conditions for Permit, Taxes, and Surveys, permit and licenses. All construction permits and licenses necessary for the execution of the work or of any temporary work and easements in relation thereto should be secured, and the corresponding required fees paid by the contractor. The cost of such permits and licenses may, however, be reimbursed by the owner to the contractor if specifically stipulated in the prior instructions of the owner or the architect. The contractor shall also secure the final occupancy permit, but he shall not be responsible for the non-issuance or the delay in the issuance thereof through no fault of the contractor. So, according to PD 1096, the owner is the one who applies for the certificate of occupancy. However, as per UAP Document 301 Terms and Conditions, in the context of contract execution, the architect and owner usually delegate the task of processing and securing the certificate of occupancy to the contractor as part of project closeout duties. Pero dahil sa project na ito, wala namang contractor, kundi this project is design-build. Under SPP Document 207, it is the architect who shall secure permits. So ito nakalagay sa SPP Document 207 for the construction phase. Part of the work of the architect is the procurement of materials, plants, and equipment, licenses, and permits. Kasama dyan yung occupancy permit or the certificate of occupancy. Number 28, so same situation. For this project, how many percent should the architect charge? A. 10% of PCC. B. 10% plus the charge for design-build services. C. 10% plus the contract amount. And D. 10% plus the supervision fee and contract amount. And our correct answer is letter B, 10% plus the charge for design, build, services. So, yung charge na yan for the design build is para sa build component ng project. No? Yung 10% is for the design fee. So, according to the schedule of fees for Group 4 residences, the fee for the design under the Detailed Architectural Engineering Design Services or DAEDS is 10% of the project construction cost. So this is the design fee. And for the design build services by administration, the fee for the architect shall be 7% of the project construction cost exclusive of the architect's fee, this one. So that will be a total of 10 plus 7 or 17% of the project construction cost. 29. A family of architects and engineers plans to set up an architectural company to cater architectural services. What percentage of shares should the architect have? A. 75%, B. 85%, C. 70%, and D. 90%. And our correct answer is letter A, 75%. So according to RA 9266, registered and licensed architects shall compose at least 75% of the owners, shareholders, members, incorporators, directors, executive officers, as the case may be. So this clause refers not just to number of people, head count, but to ownership and controlling interest. In business and corporate law, ownership is quantified in terms of shares or capital participation. So in a corporation, 75% of the voting shares, ownership shares, must be held by registered and licensed Filipino architects. In a partnership, 75% of the capital contribution and management control must likewise belong to Filipino architects. The remaining 25% can be held by Filipino allied technical professionals, that is, engineers, interior designers, but not foreign nationals. And lastly, as an architect, you have been commissioned by your uncle who greatly helped finance your BS architecture studies. If the residential project is worth 10 million pesos, what should be your recommended professional fee considering your uncle's support for your education? A. Free. B. 1 million. C. 100,000. And D. 500,000 pesos. And our correct answer is letter A, 1 million pesos. That is, if we are going to follow the recommended professional fee. So the recommended professional fee for Group 4 residences, single detached, is 10% of the project construction cost. So 10% of 10 million will give you 1 million pesos as your professional fee recommended. But of course, you can consider the help that your uncle has given you. So maybe you can provide some discounts. And that's it for our quiz. Congratulations for completing the quiz. Now, count your total correct answers and determine your score category. If your rating is 15 or less, it is time for a more strategic review.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Enroll at Atlas CDC Review for a comprehensive prep for the Architecture Board exams. Message us now.